This is a 1988 Porsche 928 S4. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful cars ever made. Can you believe this design is almost 45 years old? This car debuted in 1977 at the Geneva Motor Show, and today, almost 45 years later, I think still looks fantastic. So enough of me talking, let's drink it in. This, in my opinion, is still a fantastic looking car. If this car came out today, say Elon Musk tweeted out that this is the new Tesla electric Grand Tourer, the world would go mad for it. And I think that it has held up over all these years, and in my opinion, is also collectible as a piece of art, not just as a car, a piece of art. A big thank you to Core Motor Cars here in Vancouver for letting me borrow this for the day. If you want to find out about this car or any of the other cool cars he always has, go to corecars.com. It's easy to remember, Core Cars, and the link is below that. When I first started test driving cars in the early 90s, I went to the Canadian Car of the Year evaluations at Shannonville Racetrack in Ontario, and they had a lavender, purpley color, eggplanty kind of color, Porsche 928 S4, or maybe it might have been a GTS. Either way, that was my first experience driving this car on the track, and I remember when I got out of it, I'm like, that drives like a really well-made Corvette. So let's get in. I'll tell you about this car, take it for a drive, and I think you're probably here because you agree with me. This is a rolling piece of art. All right, let's talk about this particular rolling piece of art, a 1988 928 S4. It's originally from California. It's pretty easy to spot this car is from California because it has chromed wheels. It's a real California thing. Not sure I would keep them chrome. That's for the next buyer to decide. But the car is in beautiful condition. It's never been in an accident. It looks great in black, full black leather. Actually, this car has an extended leather package on the inside. And the car came here to Canada and to Vancouver. And the person that owned this particular car has spent around $25,000 on mechanical upgrades to it and now wants to move it along. And that's one of the things with these cars, to be quite honest. They are maintenance heavy, and there's not a lot of really, really nice examples around because they take money to keep them running. But that's why this car is for somebody that really wants to appreciate it for what it is. It is a showcase of art. It's kind of like a mid-century modern house or a Gerald Genta designed watch from the 1970s. It's something that is timeless and will always look fantastic, and it's for a collector that really wants this car because of what it represents. Now, one of the things about the 928 is this car was meant to take over for the 911. In the 1970s, when it came out, Porsche really thought that the 911 had run its course, that there wasn't much more they could do with it, but they still had turbocharging to come. But what happened was they brought the front engine, rear drive, water-cooled cars out with the 924, the 944, the 928, and so on, and they really thought that was the direction Porsche was gonna go. But the 911 has had the last laugh because here it is all those years later, it still is the iconic Porsche. And in the early 80s, when Porsche took the 911 Turbo, the 930, away from the North American market because of emission standards, they really thought this was the car that was going to replace that top model. Well, it never really panned out. Only about 60,000 of these cars were sold worldwide through the entire run. So they're rare, they're still very desirable, but it all comes down to condition, condition, condition. This one is in fabulous condition. It's got 52,000 miles on it. That's just over 80,000 kilometers in wonderful running condition. Now, driving this all those years later, this is a touring car. This really is a grand touring car. You settle into these absolutely sumptuous leather seats. You get this beautiful view with the thin A-pillars, lots of glass all around. In fact, there's so much glass, there's actually sun visors for the rear passengers. Can you believe that? And you just tour along enjoying the 5-liter engine that's under the hood. So this car has 320 horsepower. Now that's a lot of power, but it's going through an automatic transmission. And that's why it really is a touring car, because only about 10 to 15% of all the 928s that were sold were manuals. Most people opted for what was originally a 3-speed. Can you imagine that? 3-speed automatic. Then they went to the 4-speed. Most people have the automatic to choose from. The manual would be really quite rare, but yeah, that's what it is. It's a touring car. And just like the 911, it's a 2+2. You get 2 little jump seats in the back that are really only for little kids, just like the 911. There's a massive transmission hump in the middle there because the engine is in the front and the transmission is in the back for a very nice weight balance. Actually, when you open the hood and you look at this 5-liter V8, first of all, the engine looks really small and it's pushed way back towards the firewall. If you look at it sideways, the engine is actually aft of the front wheels, which gives you the center of the car. The weight is in the middle of the car, and that's all done for driving dynamics. So this was the very first car ever made that had the steering column and the instrument cluster move up and down together. That's something, I think Infiniti still does that now, but that is a really cool design. It really is amazing that this beast came out in 1977 as a 1978 model, and all those years later, you get in this and you're like, yeah, it's an old car, but it's damn cool. Oh, a couple of cool things. You've even got memory seats. This car comes with the full power seats. It even has a change holder there for the old days when you had to throw change in to get on the toll roads. So a really neat car. Do you know what I think the perfect garage would be if you like this style of car? Would have a 928 S4 like this and an 850, the BMW that looks like the Shark. Now that car came after this, but it's kind of the same idea. Big grand touring luxury German car. They kind of play in the same world. You know, one of the greatest things about owning an older collectible Porsche is telling other people that you own an old 911 or an old 928 or whatever it is. It's the pride of ownership. It's opening your garage door and looking at this car and going, that is mine. It's pretty cool. Thanks again to Core Motor Cars here in Vancouver for letting me borrow this beautiful example of a 928 S4. If you like these videos on the older cars, the Survivor series, make sure you subscribe and check back regularly. We do them a lot, so thanks for watching.